friends, have you ever thought about how manga is published in Japan? As manga readers and collectors in the West, we are used to purchasing and reading manga in volume or in omnibus form. You know, manga that looks like this, a single volume, or maybe an omnibus, maybe a larger omnibus like this, or a smaller one like this. But how is manga published and distributed in Japan? Well, of course they have volumes. They look more like this. They are smaller and shorter and cheaper in comparison the same volume in English. But it's not initially published like this. In the West, the way you buy manga is in volume initially, but in Japan, you don't have to read it initially like that. Manga in Japan is initially published in magazine format, like one of these. So let's talk about manga magazines. They are, what's in them, and where you can get them. What are manga magazines? Like I said before, manga in the West and the US specifically, this is where I have like most of my knowledge from because I live there. It's normally published in volume or tankoban form. These have generally 3 to 5 chapters of manga per volume. The 3 to 5 chapters is where manga magazines come in. So most of the time, manga in Japan is initially published in a manga magazine and it's published chapter by chapter. So you'll get one chapter normally per magazine. Manga magazines are distributed by the publisher. It has a variety of different series included in one magazine issue. They're normally published weekly, bi-monthly, monthly, quarterly, that sort of thing. It depends on the magazine that you are looking at. Some magazines are printed several times a month with different stories in each month. For example, Hana to Yume is like that. It's a twice monthly magazine, and this was the first issue for November, and then there was another issue released later. So for example, Yona of the Dawn is published in Hana to Yume, but this issue does not have Yona of the Dawn in it. It will be in a later issue. Manga magazines are normally about the size of a phone book. This is Betsukami, it's larger, but like you can see, Hana to Yume is a lot smaller. Publishers normally have different magazines for different demographics, so you'll have a Shoujo Manga Magazine or a Shonen Manga Magazine. Also, they might split up these magazines with different genres, so there may be one that is focused more on action and adventure or fantasy or something like that, though they could be mixed up. Like Betsukami has a lot of kind of slice of life stuff, but it also publishes Queen's Quality, which is more of an action fantasy. Publishers normally have a ton of different magazines in different genres, demographics, kind of like frequency in circulation at one time. The publisher Shogakukan has at least 20 different magazines in circulation right now. Manga magazines are also really cheap, both in price and in quality, sorry to say. Manga magazines aren't really seen as a collector's item. They're more of a thing that's to be read and then gotten rid of. And then the things you're going to collect are going to be our tankoban volume. Western collectors have a little bit different attitude towards manga magazines because they are harder to get in the US or outside of Japan. So we see these a little more as collector editions or collector things than they do in Japan. The price for manga magazines is generally really cheap. They are generally somewhere around $5. Betsukami is 520 yen. So that's around $5 or $6. Hana to Yume is 420 yen, which it makes sense because it's like half the size of Betsukami, and Margaret is 400 yen also. They're pretty affordable. Kids easily can afford these. And the paper quality in manga magazines is honestly not the greatest. It is kind of a thin newspaper like quality. It's really thin, it's kind of see-through. The paper quality that you're gonna get in a manga volume, a tankoban, even the lower quality US ones, the paper quality in here is better than the manga magazine. It's definitely worse quality than the Japanese manga also. Occasionally you will have pages in here that are kind of glossier, like magazine quality, like thin magazine quality pages. These will normally be color pages for manga or the start of a new series, or they could be some sort of special feature type of thing. But you're not going to have a ton of color pages. Normally having a color page for a specific series is like a selling point. Be like, okay, so this month we have Queen's Quality in color. It's normally just like 1 or 2 pages, like the cover page for the chapter. A lot of the times the paper is different colors rather than just black and white. So you'll have pages in blue or pink or green or purple, that sort of thing. The paper used for manga magazines is typically like recycled paper. It's really low quality. So if it's printed as black and white like you would in a regular volume of manga, you're gonna see the poor quality of the paper more than as if it was in a different color. So that's why you'll see a lot of pages that are maybe like completely green with black ink on them, or pink with black ink, or they have some sort of hue to them, because it kind of hides the lower quality of the paper, which is fine because, you know, they're cheap magazines and they're not really meant to be kept forever. It doesn't really separate the stories or the features because it's not like every chapter is a different color. You may have sections of it. It does look like Betsukami is kind of broken up into sections. So you have the blue section, purple, this is more of a grayish purple, and then like a pink section at the end. Let's take a look at what is inside of these manga magazines. Currently I have 3 different shoujo manga magazines. I like shoujo manga, so I'm only gonna spend my money on shoujo manga magazines. So the 3 that I have is I have Betsukami, and I have several issues of this and I'll talk about why later. And then I have Hana to Yume, then I have Margaret. Let's talk a little bit about these. So Hana to Yume is arguably probably one of the most famous or popular manga magazines. Hana to Yume is published by Hakusensha, and it is a semi-monthly magazine. So you get 2 issues per month. It publishes on the 5th and the 20th of the month. It is one of the most popular manga magazines running right now. It has series like Yona of the Dawn, Colette Decides to Die, and it also published Fruits Basket. And we have Margaret. This is published by Shueisha, and this is also published semi-monthly, publishing also on the 5th and the 20th. This magazine has run series like Daytime Shooting Star, Hibi Chocho, and Boys Over Flowers. We have Betsukami, which is a monthly magazine, so you only get 1 of these per month, and it's run series like Queen's Quality, Sand Chronicles, Blackbird, and Hatsuharu. Let's take a closer look at these manga magazines. The structure of a manga magazine is pretty much the same across the board. You have a variety of regular series that run in the magazine. So every new issue, you'll get a new chapter. You get at least 1 chapter unless something like the series on a hiatus, taking a break or something like that. But you generally get 1 chapter per manga magazine. Sometimes you'll get 2 if you're really lucky or something big is happening, but normally it's just 1 chapter per magazine. Each magazine runs several series at the same time. I think they all have at least like 10 series somewhere around there running at the same time. In length, so some of them could be longer running, some of them could be shorter, that sort of thing. Also see shorter manga in there. You'll see short one-shots from authors that are already running in the magazine, have run in the magazine, new authors, that sort of thing. Also see kind of gag or comedy manga. These are just kind of short little manga that are supposed to be funny. You'll also have special manga series. For example, Betsukami has been running for the past 3 years, a manga written by Kaito Takahashi, who is from Johnny's. He's from King and Prince. He's been running a short manga in Betsukami for the past 3 years. This issue actually is Kaito's last issue, so I'm actually very happy that I have this issue to kind of like commemorate the end of Kaito's 3-year manga journey. One of the things that you'll also see in manga magazines outside of manga is kind of interviews with celebrities, maybe voice actors who have done stuff for anime that are been made from the manga, or voice actors who have done voice work for drama series from different series from the manga magazine. Also see a lot of Johnny's idols, and this is not just my bias towards Johnny's idols. They are very popular among the audience for shoujo manga. So like this episode, you have Matsushima Sho from Sexy Zone. And then of course Betsukami has a really good relationship with Johnny's idols. Of course they had Kaito's manga running in it, and then there's also a feature for like, or so-called beautiful juniors, so they're like trainees who are kind of like normally in the age group of the readers of the manga. So there'll be like a short feature on them, like an interview, that sort of thing. Kind of ways to get more people to buy the magazine, because you know, if you are a Sexy Zone fan and you are a fan of show, then maybe you will buy this magazine and read things that are not just like the interview with show in it. There are also other fun things that could be in here. Of course, you could have interviews with different manga creators or voice actors from anime or drama CDs. There are also, there's always advertisements for different manga that has run in here. So maybe it has new volumes coming out, that sort of thing. You may have some sort of like fortune telling or horoscope related type of thing. Because you know that stuff is normally marketed towards like girls, and, you know, just sort of all sorts of little extras between the pages of the manga chapters. But the manga chapters are the priority for these magazines. Another cool thing about manga magazines is that you can get exclusive merch with these magazines. These can be all sorts of extra things. So they could be extra manga, they could be stationery related, they could be like bags or actual like goods, like Queen's Quality. I bought this off of Mikari and it's not here yet, but Queen's Quality had like an acrylic stand type of thing. So it's all sorts of different things that you could get. The things that I have gotten from the few magazines that I have, so my November issue of Hanato Yume, I got these Halloween themed sticky notes. These are from Kao Dake ja Suki ni Narimasen. Sorry for my terrible Japanese. But yeah, I got these Halloween themed sticky notes. And then in another issue of Betsukami, I got this like special manga here. So these are just kind of like short stories. This is called Beloved Wedding, so they're kind of romance themed ones, obviously. So you can get all sorts of stuff from the magazines. Drama CDs are very coveted items, at least for me. There's a Queen's Quality drama CD that I am trying to get my hands on, and I can't get it. You can get all sorts of extra exclusive merch from here. These things are exclusive to the magazine and you can't buy them anywhere else. Every issue has like a freebie or a giveaway item. Every few does. Now that we've talked about what manga magazines are, what's in them, where can we get these magazines? The best way to get these magazines is living in Japan, and you can buy them pretty much anywhere, bookstores, like convenience stores, that sort of thing. But outside of Japan, they are harder to get. Of course, there is a barrier with manga magazines, is that they are in Japanese, so in order to read them and fully enjoy them, you do have to know Japanese. My Japanese is not as good as it used to be, but like I was reading Queen's Quality, looking at Queen's Quality for this month, and I understood maybe like I understood what was happening most of the time, not the end of it, which I need to figure out. They're good to have as like a collector, if you want to collect that sort of thing. But like to fully enjoy them, of course, you need to be able to read Japanese. But where can we get them outside of Japan? So just a disclaimer with this information, this is going to be information that is useful to people in the US. I don't know if this is going to work for you outside of the US. I live in the US, so that's where my perspective and my information is coming from. Some of these options may work in other countries, but I do not know for sure. You may have other options available to you also. First option that I think will probably work for people outside of the US also is ordering them online. One place that you can order them on is CD Japan. So CD Japan is a online retailer and they sell like manga, books, CDs, DVDs, that sort of thing. You can buy individual issues of magazines from CD Japan. You can always buy the newest one. If you want to buy any back issues, they have an option to do proxy shipping, but they may not be available, just because they are like such a kind of cheap, not really collectors type of thing, so it might not be available to you for you to buy if it's past like what the current magazine is. CD Japan is really, really good. I have been buying stuff off of CD Japan for like 15 plus years. I mostly buy like idol CDs and DVDs from them, but recently I bought some manga from them and I used their proxy shipping service and it was really, really great. So I definitely trust CD Japan. I will recommend them for anybody. They used to have a magazine subscription service, but they have discontinued that. So you can't subscribe to a magazine anymore from there, but you can buy the individual issues. You could also try Amazon.jp. I have never bought anything off of Amazon.jp, so I'm not exactly sure how it works, but I'm sure there are tutorials online and people talking about how to buy off of Amazon Japan, but that might be an option also. I know people who buy stuff from Amazon Japan and are able to ship it internationally, like outside of Japan. Personally, for the US, I think the best option is going to be Kinokuniya. So Kinokuniya is a Japanese book retailer. They have limited amount of stores. I believe there's just in like New York and New Jersey. There's one in Seattle. There's a bunch in California, and I think there's a few in Texas. There might be a few other locations, but they're very limited. Two options to get manga magazines from Kinokuniya. One is to go into the store and buy the physical magazines just right off the shelf. That is what I did with my Hanato Yume, Margaret, and then my earlier issue of Betsukami. I bought those when I went to go visit the store. They are a little more expensive than what the like cover price is, so they're like 400-500 yen, so $4 or $5, but they're gonna be around like $7, I think, like $7 US, because you know they have to ship it from Japan or whatever, so the price is gonna be a little bit higher. But if you cannot go into Kinokuniya, you can also choose to have them deliver it to you. So originally I thought you could purchase the magazines on their web shop, but it doesn't look like you can purchase manga magazines on Kinokuniya's online web store. You can buy individual volumes of manga, but it doesn't look like the actual, you know, magazines are available on there. You can email stores individually and you can order it that way and probably have it sent to your house if you email an individual store. Or you can subscribe to a manga magazine. And that is what I do with Betsukami, because you know me, I'm a huge Queen's Quality fan, and I know that Queen's Quality is going to be ending sometime in the near future. Unfortunately, I wish it could go on forever, but I wanted to kind of subscribe to the magazine, so I had the end of it, get any kind of special stuff that they give away in the magazine, that sort of thing. On their website, they have a thing where you can go in and order the magazine. Normally with the subscription, you get it sent to you maybe a few days, maybe a week after it's released in Japan. The subscription process is super easy for Kinokuniya. They have a list of magazines on their website that you can choose from with the prices, either in 6 months or year-long subscription. If the magazine that you want is not on the list, you can go ahead and email them and ask them if you can get a subscription for it. That's what I did with Betsukami. It's not on their list of subscriptions, but I was able to email them and say, hey, I want a subscription to this, and they were able to provide that for me. So currently I have a 6-month subscription to Betsukami, and it cost me $98 for that whole 6 months. And that is including shipping. So that is about $16 a month for this magazine. It's a little bit expensive compared to what the cover price of the magazine is and what technically it's worth, but it does include the shipping, which is airmail from Japan. So I feel like it is a pretty sweet deal. Probably going to continue my subscription after my 6 months is over. I have 3 issues right now, so I have 3 more, and I'll probably continue it after that as long as Queen's Quality doesn't end in that amount of time, which I don't think it'll end in 3 chapters. That's insane. So I think the subscription option for Kinokuniya, if you want to continue getting magazines, then that is the best option. Manga magazines are really something that is unique to Japan. The US tried out manga magazines for a while. There used to be a Shonen Jump magazine that came out monthly, and there also was a Shoujo Beat one. These were both by Viz, where I had like 2 years worth of Shonen Jump. I never had the Shoujo Beat version, but I subscribed to the English Shonen Jump magazine when it first came out, so it had things like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, stuff like that in it. The Shoujo Beat one had I don't remember exactly what was his shoujo beat, but I know like Sand Chronicles was in there, Kaze Hikaru, and a few other ones. But they experimented with a monthly version of it where they were basically just reprinting, you know, English versions of manga that was popular at the time. But they discontinued those after a few years. I don't really have like this, anything like this in the US anymore. I'm not really sure how successful it would be. Maybe if they tried again, it would be a bit more successful if they did kind of like concurrent things, but it seems to be working really well with digital to get them a little bit faster out to the public rather than a print magazine. The Shonen Jump app by Viz does a really good job of getting out brand new chapters of stuff like the same day as Japan. There are a few shoujo and josei series that do this online but don't have a dedicated app. Cardcaptor Sakura, I know you can get chapters the day they come out. Seems like for the US, digital chapters are helpful. It would be really cool if we had a digital manga magazine just so we could get stuff quicker, because you know it is hard to like print these things in 2 countries or different territories at the same time to avoid things like piracy. I really enjoy manga magazines. I think they're really fun to look at. They're really great for studying Japanese. So if you already have, like, if you can read Japanese, like hiragana and katakana, then these are really great tools to start practicing reading Japanese because most of the kanji has like furigana, so you can see how to read that kanji and you can kind of figure it out that way. So you don't have to know a bunch of kanji, you just have to know like hiragana and katakana to be able to read it, and then understanding it depends on your level, but as you read more and look stuff up, if you don't know it, then you can read, you can understand better. So I think these are really great tools for Japanese learners, especially kind of your like more slice of life sort of stuff, because they won't have such like complicated concepts like magic and things like that. Slice of life stuff is a lot easier to understand than your more complicated series. Things that are like everyday life and everyday situations I feel like are really beneficial to kind of beginner Japanese students. So that's also a reason that I like to get this manga, not just for the free merch and just kind of seeing what's up with Queen's Quality right now. It's also so that I can practice Japanese a little bit. I hope this video gave you a little bit more information about manga magazines. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about manga magazines. I'm in no way an expert on them, but if you wanted to see anything from my manga magazines that I do have, then let me know. Of course, any suggestions you have for any other type of videos like this, please let me know down in the comments. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want more shoujo manga goodness from me. That is all I've got for you guys today. I'm Chrissy Lou. Until next time, mata ne!